Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this installment of Renegade of Wrestling. I am your host, JJ Williams, back with another batch of questions from you, my viewers, to answer and address this week. Not as many this week as I did have last week. You guys need to be on top of that. There's 4 different ways that you can send me questions. They're all listed in the description box under the video here. Post a comment on this video. Hit me up on my Renegade of Wrestling fan page on Facebook. Hit me up on my The Renegade of Wrestling JJ Williams fan page on Facebook. Or tweet me at ROWJJ Williams with your question and the hashtag #NobodyCares. From Facebook, Leo Roke wants to know from me, now that Paul Heyman is with Punk, why hasn't he mentioned Brock, and is he going to manage both? I do believe Paul Heyman is going to be managing both. The reason that he hasn't really mentioned Brock right now is because Brock only has limited dates on his contract. That's why they keep suspending him and firing him and quitting and all this bullshit, is because he only has a small amount of dates that he signed a deal for, so they want to save those dates for big events. Don't expect to see him until maybe next Monday at the earliest, the Monday after Hell in a Cell, possibly to help build up an angle before Survivor Series, or if not the Monday after Hell in a Cell, within a couple weeks prior to Survivor Series. I completely expect there to be a Team Heyman versus either Team McMahon or Helmsley Survivor Series elimination match, with Brock and Punk being on the same team along with a couple of other guys against Cena, possibly Hunter if he decides to wrestle again, and a couple other guys if Hunter's not going to be the captain of the team from the outside. So that is why he hasn't mentioned Brock as far as I know, and I do expect him to be managing both during Brock's limited dates. Logan Gonzalez wants to know, do I feel the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community, turns on indie guys too fast when they go to WWE or TNA? Because I feel they turned on Punk like that. To me, it's way past heel heat and just pure hate. Like the IWC is now calling him a vanilla midget or that he needs more muscle. Do you think this will happen to younger talent that comes from the indies? Personally, I do feel that the fans in general, not just the IWC, but the fans in general, do turn on the indie guys way too quickly. Part of that has to do with the way the companies package them and essentially water them down. You know, you notice Punk hasn't been able to use the Pepsi Plunge since coming to WWE, whether that's because it took too much toll on his knees on the indies, or because Triple H put a stop to it because it makes his pedigree look bad. You notice that Daniel Bryan, hasn't been using the cattle mutilation since coming to WWE. You know, the list goes on and on. There's a bunch of guys that don't use the same moves now that they come over, and their characters suffer as a result of that, I think, to an extent. So that is part of why I think at least the IWC turns on indie guys so quickly. The fans that never knew the indie guys and are, thinking that Vince McMahon just discovered this tattooed guy from Chicago, Illinois, they're turning on him because that's what they're being told to do by the storyline. I have yet to waver on guys like CM Punk. I haven't wavered on Daniel Bryan. I haven't wavered on Antonio Cesaro, the former Claudio Castagnoli. A lot of the guys that came from the indie scene, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, all guys that I've been following since '04 when I went to my first indie show. So I haven't turned on these guys yet. And I wish that the C Nation fans, if you will, the guys that eat, drink, breathe, sleep what Vince McMahon or Dixie Carter tells them to, would go out there and do their homework, do their research, watch video clips on YouTube, order tapes on eBay or Amazon or High Spots or whatever, Go watch some Bryan Danielson matches from Japan. Watch some CM Punk stuff from IWA Mid-South or from Ring of Honor, the stuff that's not on the DVD. Go back and watch the Punk Joe series. Oh my God, seriously. You know, I found a match when I was looking around online to try and find stuff to make my own Punk DVD. There's a Punk match circulating out there, I believe from either 02 or 03. I want to say it's IWA Mid-South, and it's Punk versus Eddie versus an unmasked Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Go watch that match. Oh my God. You know Eddie and Rey always put on great matches together anyways, and you throw CM Punk in the mix of all that. Awesome match. Go check out some of Punk's TNA stuff. Yes, he was in TNA. He was part of Raven's Gathering, for those of y'all that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Go check out the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match that featured him, Julio De Niro, Alexis LeRae, aka Mickey James, and Raven against Shane Douglas, Disciples of the New Church, and I believe Father James Mitchell was even in the match. And go check out some of that stuff. But the guys that are the Vince McMahon disciples, the Dixie Carter disciples, are going to say whatever they say about them. Vanilla Midget needs more muscle are words that I've heard Triple H throw around about CM Punk. I've heard Vince throw around about him. I've heard Kevin Nash use about him. You know, it's not an original thought. They're just taking somebody else's claim and rehashing it because he turned on their boy John Cena, or they cashed in their Money in the Bank briefcase against their boy Jeff Hardy a couple years ago. So Seaman sucks now. Get over it. He's the best in the world for a reason, people. Twitter, Warren Mapp at Top Gun Warrior 59. I know you've been in the business for a minute. What was your scariest moment? Although they popped right up after the move, probably is the scariest moment that I've actually seen live was AJ Styles versus Frankie Kazarian at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Frankie gave his flux capacitor to AJ off of the top turnbuckle onto the concrete floor. Think about that for a minute. Yeah, they got back up, weren't down too long. They were able to get up before the 10 count. But seeing a move like that delivered live in front of you onto concrete, oh shit, these two motherfuckers just done killed themselves, was the first thing that ran through my head. So that's probably the scariest thing I can think of off the top, Warren, that I have seen live. 3 questions today from YouTube. Siren Badman says, which NXT rookies are ready for SmackDown/Raw, the main roster? Love from the UK. Unfortunately, I do not watch NXT as much as I would like to due to it being an internet show. I just don't have the time to sit down and watch it each week with filming shows for the channel, uploading shows, taking care of my kid, taking care of my house. I just don't have time. I did see the first few episodes of this new season, if you will, when they incorporated the FCW people. I'd be lying if I didn't say Cassius Ohno is ready, Chris Hero. I think the Rotundo boys are ready to get up there. I think Husky is ready for another legit shot, not just, NXT or New Nexus member. The gimmick they were starting to give him, the Bray Wyatt, was kind of cool looking before he got injured. And his brother Bo, thoroughly impressed by Bo Rotundo in the matches I saw on NXT. So I think both of them could do big things as the Rotundos and just run with it. Seth Rollins, Tyler Black is definitely ready. Last I checked, he was still the NXT champion. So there's quite a few guys right now that I think are ready before she left. I thought Raquel Diaz, Shaul Guerrero was ready, but I don't know what exactly happened. I've heard numerous things that, she just didn't like the way the business was going, so she left. I heard she took time off. I heard that she failed a drug test. Don't really know what the real is. If y'all know, please post in the comment box and let me know, but I thought that she was ready to get called up to the main roster. Get thrown into the Divas division there with Natty and Beth. So there's a few of them down there that I think are ready, but I just haven't been able to see as much as I would have liked to. I drink lots of beer. JJ, if you could take any two wrestlers, past, present, or future, and book a main event feud push for them, who would you pick? And how would you book it? Love the channel, huge fan from Ireland. Getting a lot of overseas love today. UK, Ireland. The match I always book in any fantasy match, any fantasy card, in their primes, of course, would be Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. I think the two of them, Bret in his prime, circa 93, 94, but maybe with the 1997 fuck the US mentality, versus Kurt Angle, your Olympic gold medalist, circa 2001, 2002. I think that would be a great matchup. I'm going to say 2001, 2002 for Angle, because if you remember, he was automatically turned babyface post 9/11 because of being an Olympic hero. And I think if he used that momentum to go into an anti-US hating Bret Hart with the skills from 93, 94, I think that would be a hell of a match. And that's exactly how I would book it right there. Bret, anti-US, and here comes the Olympic gold medalist to defend America. Have to be at WrestleMania. Have to be. And it would have to be an Iron Man match. Have to be. Submissions only. No pinfalls. Who would I book to win? Don't know. Why don't y'all tell me who you think should win? Whichever person gets the most votes in the comment box will be declared the winner of that fantasy match on my next show. WWE anime fans, Nexus versus Aces and Eights. Who is better when it comes to the power game? That's a lot tougher of a question for me to answer than I thought it would be, because originally I was going to go Nexus, hands down. But I think Aces and Eights have the mindfuck power because you don't know who they are. It's like when it came to the Nexus, you knew who they were. They didn't mask themselves. They were nobodies at the time, but you knew it was Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Michael Tarver, Darren Young, etc., etc., Skip Sheffield. You knew who they were. The Aces and Eights have the mystery aspect about them, plus they're all big guys, or at least that's what they appear to all be, is big guys. We had one revealed a couple months ago as Luke Gallows, former SES member. Now Devon has been revealed as one. Luke Gallows hasn't been seen since he was revealed, so I don't know what the fuck was going on with that. But these guys are legitimately big guys as compared to Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, who are cruiserweights. Yeah, you got Skip Sheffield, he's a big dude, Ryback. You got Michael Tarver, who is a decent sized dude. Wade Barrett was tall and lanky, but he's not like really jacked. So when it comes to the power game, WWE anime fans, I think I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Aces and Eights. And my last question I skipped over earlier, goes back to Warren Mapp at Top Gun Warrior 59. Oh yeah, one more question for you. Are you still followed by Puppet H on Twitter? No, I'm not. Sadly, Puppet H has stopped following me for some reason. I think the only reason he started following me is because I posted that picture of pizza rolls right after he did that Are You Serious episode. But in any event, Puppet H is no longer following me. I am, however, as of last checked, being followed by Natalia and David Otunga. So take that for what it's worth. Would you rather be followed by the heir apparent to the Hart family throne or a piece of felt and cloth? That's all for this edition of Renegade of Wrestling. Make sure you submit your questions one of the 4 ways, like I said earlier. Post them in the comment box. Send them to me on my Renegade of Wrestling fan page on Facebook. Send them to my The Renegade of Wrestling JJ Williams fan page on Facebook. Or tweet them to me at ROWJJWilliams. Later on this week, me and Statboy will probably be coming together to give you our Hell in a Cell predictions. So, until then, thank you from the Casa de 18 Studios channel, and we'll see you next time.